welcome back to another FiddleHed fiddle lesson. Gonna do the tune Wagon Wheel, second in a series of 3 videos. This video will cover the second break, and I'll go also into a little bit about the double stops on this tune, okay? So I'm gonna start by just playing the whole thing, the whole second break. I'm gonna play it I'll play it with double stops, and then when I teach it to you, we'll do it without double stops. Okay, so let's break it down some. Let's do the first quarter of this break. It sounds a bit like the first quarter from the first break. Okay, so we're going to break it down further into single notes. This part is not technically as challenging as other parts of the tune. That's going to start D1, 2, and then open A. Back to D2. Okay, and then we're going to go A1, 2, 2. I'm going to add more. Open 2, 1, 1. There's that again. Before that we had followed by, and then we end this whole first phrase with on A, open, 1, open. So let's put it all together. One more time. All right, let's move on. Second phrase to this tune. Okay, so that's A, 2, 3 to start. And then we do that 3 times in a row. And then 2 open after doing it 3 times in a row. Here it is again. Try that again. Okay, and that's followed by a 3, 2. 3, 2, and a long 2. Putting all that together. Okay, one more time. Followed by on D string, 1, 2, I'm going to go up to A and then back to D2. And then add G1. Before this part we had then let's put it all together. Second phrase. All right, and then third phrase of the second break, this break we're working on, is pretty much the same as the last break. Sorry, the last part of the first break. I'll just play it. I'll just break it down a little bit, but since I already covered it in the first lesson, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on it. G2 to high 3 twice. Then high 3 to 4 to 3 in a triplet. It's hard, you may want to just practice that. So let's put together what we have so far. And then that little bit is followed by high 3 to 2 twice on G. And then another triplet, 2, high 3, 2. So listen to this. Again. Okay, the beginning of this third part is. Now we just need to finish it with G2 1. 2 1 1. Then high 3 2 2, high 3 2 2 1 1. Here's that bit again. Whole third part of this. Okay, I'm now going to play the whole break slowly, more slowly than the beginning even. Here it goes. Cool. So that's it. Now I just want to spend the rest of the time just doing a little bit of the double stops for this song. So you can put, basically we're trying to add things from A chord to this. And I think the fiddler from the band, Old Crow Medicine Show, actually tunes his G up to an A. I actually experimented with doing that for this lesson, but it seemed like it seemed like it made it a little easier, but then if you hadn't done it before, I don't know, it just seemed like you could pretty much do the tune in standard tuning. It's slightly more challenging, I think, but not a whole lot more. So anyway, the first chord you could practice would be G1 and D1 to make A, that double stop. Then D1 and open A, make that A, and then open A and E. In a nutshell, as you're going through the tune, you decide which of those notes you're going to play. If you're on the G string, your only choice is D1. If you're on the D, you could either play G1 or open A. See how that works? Yeah. So if we're on G, we're playing D1. If we're on D, like the beginning of the tune, we could either play G1 or open A. Alright, so we have those options. Then when you're on A, you could either play open E or just D1. Alright, so I'm just going to play a little bit, G1 and D1, and then open A. I think I'm keeping that D2 single. So in that part, it's the single stops are A1 to 2, 2. I'm holding D1 down. You could hold D1 all throughout that phrase that you're playing on the A. Next phrase. I forget what the double stop is that the original fiddle part is, but what sounds good to me is holding down D2 here, because I think the chord switches to F sharp minor. So we have. But when in doubt, just play single stops, you know, or experiment. But you don't have to. It almost sounds better to not do double stops too much, because then they make it kind of messy. But that's up to you. You'll find your way with doing this as a fiddler by experimenting. One idea is to use them a little bit more sparingly, like use them every other note, like. You know, like if you use them as more like accents, you clear space for melody. So anyway, there's some sloppy thoughts on how to add double stops to Wagon Wheel. Well, I hope it was useful. Let me know if it was unclear, because I'm always trying to make it better. Make these lessons not only clearer, but extremely fun. I don't think this lesson really qualifies as extremely fun, but maybe, who knows? Maybe it was. I mean, I had a pretty good time. All right, see you next time. Bye.
Thanks for watching the video. Love you.
Excellent.